first two chapters of book 3 of Hard Times really trace Sissy's growth, I suppose, and this idea that Sissy really represents sort of some form of redemption for the other characters. And we see that in chapter 1, which is called Another Thing Needful. Remember, the first chapter is called The One Thing Needful, where Gradgrind says the only thing you need in life is facts. The fact that this chapter is called Another Thing Needful shows that things have changed. He's actually starting to learn that there is more to life than just these facts. We get about 5 lines from the bottom of the page, on page 205. "What a beaming face you have, Jane," said Louisa, as a young sister timidly still bent down to kiss her. So straight away, this really visual cue and really visual symbol and sign that actually Jane, the younger sister, is happier, you know, a beaming. It's not a word associated with Louisa or Tom. That overflow of sort of genuine emotion that the younger sister has because she's been brought up with Sissy's influence. And we see that change coming in, and then on page 206, about 8 lines down, we see Gradgrind's change. We're told he had a jaded, anxious look upon him, and his hand, usually steady, trembled in hers. So we get this idea of Gradgrind almost aging pretty much overnight, you know, turning into an old man. But it's because Gradgrind, you know, represents utilitarianism, and Dickens is really shaking that system to its core. He's seen that system fall down, and now Gradgrind is this weak old man, really. So, you know, seeing that his system isn't relevant. And we get that about 8 lines from the bottom of page 206. Gradgrind says, "I have rigidly administered it, and I must bear the responsibility of its failures." He's talking about the system there of utilitarianism. He accepts responsibility, that he has lived by that, and he accepts that actually he has to take the blame for it not working out. So we get the feeling that Gradgrind represents utilitarianism. So Gradgrind being weakened represents the system being weakened and being seen as a problem. At the very, very bottom of page 206, Gradgrind's compared to a gardener, so we're told within the limits of his short tether, he had tumbled about, annihilating the flowers of existence, with great singleness of purpose than many of the blatant personages whose company is kept. So just like how Tom was biting the heads off the roses and watching the petals float away, Gradgrind here is described as somebody destroying flowers, annihilating the flowers. So Dickens uses that same symbol from Tom to Gradgrind to show how Gradgrind's actions have led directly to Tom's wasted youth. We are told about 9 or 10 lines from the bottom of page 207, her father was changed in nothing so much as in the respect that he would have been glad to see her in tears. So again, that total transformation, that total turnaround. Remember the father and daughter chapter at the end of book 1 where there's no emotion at all. Now, Gradgrind understands that emotion is very important and there's much more than these simple facts. We're told halfway down page 208, Gradgrind's explaining that he started to learn that there's more to life. He says, "Louisa, I have a misgiving that some change may have been slowly working about me in this house by mere love and gratitude, that what the head had left undone and could not do, the heart may have been doing silently. Can it be so?" Sissy really represents the heart, doesn't she? You know, we've seen it in Jane's beaming face, in the sunlight that's associated with Sissy. She is this redemptive figure, she is this redemptive sort of symbol, and Gradgrind realises that the head can only get you so far, and actually that is needed. Louisa doesn't reply though, we're told she made him no reply, so Louisa remains as this silenced woman. And it's interesting that actually Dickens doesn't give Louisa a full redemption here. You know, even at the end, Louisa doesn't have her own children. There's that idea that damage is sort of done, and Dickens isn't, you know, giving a sort of a falsely sentimental ending here. He knows it's tough. There's the implication that this book is garnering. There's the idea that winter is coming. You know, there's not really a happy ending as such, and I think he reminds us there. We're told in the very bottom paragraph of page 208, she did not raise her head, a dull anger that she should be seen in her distress, and that the involuntary look she had so resented should come to this fulfilment, smoulder within her like an unwholesome fire. So again, the fire imagery, the smouldering, still associated with Louisa. This isn't a full redemption. But then Sissy comes in, and Sissy does sort of comfort Louisa. We're told at the top of page 209, the sympathetic hand did not claim a resentment, let it lie there, let it lie. Again, we're getting let it used by Dickens, that constant motif throughout this book. But now the meaning has changed. It's changed to, you know, let Sissy's, you know, impact be there. Let nature take its course. Let people be natural. Don't you know, bombard them with facts. We're told on page 209 that in the next paragraph, the face touched hers and she knew that there were tears upon it too, and she the cause of them. So there's that idea that because Sissy can feel, because Sissy's got emotion and can feel tears and isn't obsessed by fact and understands the heart more than just, you know, what its biological purpose is, that Sissy actually is creating that redemption. And then we see on right at the end of the chapter on page 210, Louisa says, "Forgive me, pity me, help me, have compassion on my great need, and let me lay this head of mine upon a loving heart." "Oh, lay it here," cried Sissy, "lay it here, my dear." So again, Louisa's head coming down onto Sissy's sort of chest, onto her heart, symbolising the way that Louisa's brought down and now Sissy is rising up. But again, lay it here, and let me lay this head. Again, let and lay, it's coming up again and again and again. Dickens is saying, we need to just, rely on our sort of human instincts rather than facts and utilitarianism. And then chapter 2, great chapter where Sissy basically stands up to Harthouse and says, you've got to go. And even though nothing has ever got through to Harthouse, Sissy somehow does. So we see on page 214, Sissy basically says, "You've got to go." On the bottom paragraph on page 214, we're told Mr. Harthouse drew a long breath, and if ever man found himself in the position of not knowing what to say, made the discovery beyond all question that he was so circumstanced. The childlike ingenuousness with which his visitor spoke, a modest fearlessness, a truthfulness which put all artifice aside, her entire forgetfulness of herself, and it carries on, basically saying that Harthouse is totally disarmed. And we're told that he's silenced. So actually, no, it's a silenced man. But what's he silenced by? Well, the childlike nature of Sissy, her innocence, that actually sees through who he is. So Sissy's childhood and Sissy's innocence here is a massive sort of strength here. We're told again at the top of page 215, all his usual weapons would fall so powerless that not a word could he rally to his release. So again, he is the one who's silenced now. We're told on page 215, about 6 lines from the bottom, he was touched in the cavity where his heart should have been. Nice little, intrusion from the omniscient narrator, but reminding us again that Harthouse it's all about what's missing in Harthouse as well. He doesn't have a heart. There's a cavity there. There's a gap. We've had that focus on what's not there throughout the novel, right from the start with the vault of the schoolroom. Here we get it again, the idea that Sissy is all heart and she's actually this redemption. We're told on page 217, on the second sort of paragraph on that page, about a third of the way down the page, if he had shown or felt the lightest trace of any sensitiveness to his ridicule or his astonishment or any remonstrance he might offer, he would have carried it against her at this point, but he could as easily have changed a clear sky by looking at it in surprise as affected her. Sissy will not be changed, basically. Harthouse can do what he wants, use all his normal tactics, but it will not get through to Sissy. Again, she's associated with the clear sky, with the sun, with nature. Harthouse says basically he can't just disappear, and he's lying halfway down the page. He says, "You're probably not aware of that, but I assure you it's the fact." And we're told it had no effect on Sissy. Fact or no fact. Again, great irony by Dickens. Sissy, the girl who didn't get facts, who didn't understand utilitarian schooling. Here, it's a massive strength. Harthouse says, no, the fact is I can't go. But actually it doesn't matter. He does have to go because Sissy will not accept it. And we're told about 3 lines from the bottom of the page, it was a self-same chimney-piece, and somehow he felt as if he were the whelp tonight. He could not make no way at all. So again, it's coming back to sort of bite him. Sissy's the one who's turned everything. Harthouse is a manipulative character who can turn these characters around. He silenced himself by Sissy's simple, childlike nature. And then right at the end of the chapter, we're told what was about to be the very best passage in his life was the one of all others he would not have owned to on any account, and the only one that made him ashamed of himself. So there's that backwards moral code, basically. The only thing that makes Harthouse ashamed is that he's gone now, which is the only thing actually that is a good action in his life. So it's that really simple good and bad. Harthouse is associated with the devil throughout, and this fiendish imagery, as linked to Sissy's childlike nature, that ultimately wins out by her very simplicity and by her refusal to accept what is fact.